Hello everyone, I'm Jesus and welcome to the next episode of The Road to Old School MTG. In this video I have round 3 of the September Strike Old School Atlantic Tournament held at Dave's Time Warp in Cedar Grove, New Jersey, September 2024 to be exact. So this tournament was the final opportunity for the Lobstercon players especially to get some games in, competitive games in, before Lobstercon 2024 is to take place in a couple weeks from this tournament. So I brought here an Bantamgeddon or Bantamgeddon deck, and right now I will be playing it against my opponent, which is he's playing Goblin Burn type of deck. So first, let's start with my deck tech. So I'm gonna go through this quick since this is pretty standard right now. We have good ramp, a good curve, on the creatures with 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 casting cost creatures. So hopefully there should be a creature being dropped every turn, or within that, at least that expectation. Of course, with Moxes, with Soul Ring, that could be bumped up. And now, of course, I do have the Black Lotus, which I did not have in the previous Lobstercon. And I did take this extremely similar version of this deck to last year's Lobstercon. So with some improvements, I am hopeful that this one will do better. But so far, the first 2 rounds of this tournament, I lost. First round was very tight. Ended up losing 1-2. Second one, I think I got crushed pretty handily against the deck, which is to be expected when you're facing off against the deck. You're always behind the 8 ball. So now I am 0-2 to this point. So I'm looking to start going into the winning column here. I'm going against a Mono Red Burn / Goblin type of deck. So let's start with the games. I'm on the left, opponent's on the right. No mulligans, I believe. Let me double check. Oh, my opponent did have 1 mulligan. I start with a Tundra, Mox, get turn 1, Time Walk. So that's just for me to drop another land, and then I do see a dib. So that's basically a turn 1 dib. So my opponent is still pretty new to Old School. So you'll be seeing me explaining some cards and things like that. So that was my first turn, pretty solid turn 1. Considering the time walk came within my own turn. Opponent's going Mountain, Black Lotus, so I believe that's a proxy. So we are proxy friendly in Time Warp, even in our tournaments. Our Friday Night Magics, our tournaments, we're good with that. As long as everybody knows what's a proxy, what's not, and so forth. For me, this particular deck has no proxies because, like I said, this is in anticipation of Lobstercon. Lobstercon does not allow proxies. Okay, so this is where my opponent had a mistake. So he has a foreign version of Bloodlust, so that's why it's hard to tell what the full text says. He thinks he can make a creature die from the -4 toughness thing that it does, right? But it also has the additional text at the end where the toughness of the creature cannot drop below 1. And unfortunately, he has a foreign black bordered version, right? So then, neither one of us could read it. But I know the card because I've used it before. And Sematics is my favorite Old School Magic artist. Actually, my favorite artist. Right. So yeah. So I'm just explaining the interaction, telling him that if he does that, that doesn't kill my creature. So if he follows it up with a lightning bolt, then that would be good, because then the lightning bolt on its own wouldn't be able to kill the dib. So now he's doing something different now. So yeah, so instead he's just gonna cast the Goblin and Goblin Grenade it. So, which that works, but then I tell him to take back his Bloodlust if he does that. So yeah, that was just me explaining that. My opponent tapped the land, so he sacked the Mox. He sacked the Mox, so that ended up giving him 1, maybe 2 damage. Yeah, he took the 2 damage. I was fine with him on doing it, right? But he wants to. That's what he decided. All right, so for me, I just played another land. Let's see who knows the reference to that plains I dropped. So 2 mana, I just played a Chaos Orb and that's it, right? So ideally, would I like to have either a Juggernaut or a Urnham here, or maybe another different. A Lion and a Pixie could have been nice as well. So opponent now goes to his second turn, plays a Factory, then plays a Mons Goblin Raiders, something like that. Just a 1/1 vanilla Goblin. So I play a second Tundra, I believe, with the Mox. That gives me a turn 4. Actually, turn 3 Sarah, right? Because remember I time walked, so I count all that as 1 turn. So turn 1. So basically I had a turn 2 Dip and then a turn 3 Sarah. If I'm not mistaken. Which I don't think it was 1, 2, yeah, I think so. Because of the Mox that allows me to go up an extra turn, right? So yeah, that's what it was. Pretty solid. Okay, my opponent's doing something. He dropped a mountain, played a Goblin King. So he doesn't pump himself, but he pumps every other Goblin +1/+1. I think maybe he gives Forest Walk. I mean Mountain Walk. I'm not sure. Well, it doesn't come into play anyway. If it did, I have no mountains. Unless he plays a Blood Moon, that could be something different. All right, so I attack for 4. So with the 2 damage he took from before, he's at 14, and then I play a Lion. Looks like I have 2 cards in hand. Opponent goes to his next turn number, so you can. He still has that Bloodlust, right? So I know that. And then he has 2 cards, right? So it looks like he has 2 cards. So it has something else. He could come in for attack. Okay, so he's dropping the Factory. He could come in for attack if I block whatever I block with the Sarah. He could Bloodlust it and then it will die. I do have that Chaos Orb, right? So I could risk it and maybe block first, let him Bloodlust, and then in response I could Chaos Orb before damage. Okay, so yeah, here I was just telling him that since he dropped that second Factory, he couldn't attack with it. He can use it to pump the other one. Okay, so he's being a bit aggressive here, but I think that's what he's going for, right? So he's going for trying to bait me to block with the Sarah and then Bloodlust, right? So if I had taken more damage, then maybe, right? Because then I don't want to take the damage and I would maybe sacrifice my Sarah. So I'm not sure if I actually end up doing this, right? Because I know he played that Bloodlust before, right? So I know that's what he has in hand. That's why you try to not make mistakes like that. You know, he's still learning though, right? But in general, of course, because if you have to take something back, then you just gave some info to the opponent, and then the surprise is spoiled. Okay, so I'm not sure what I'm doing here. I could still block. Oh no, actually I can't even block because, well, I could block the other Goblin. Or actually, yeah, I could block the Goblin, the King. So I'm surprised I'm blocking that. I may have a Disenchant in hand, and I'm just trying to get him to. I'm just trying to get him to pump and then Disenchant in response. Okay, so ooh, I am choosing to block. So I'm not sure if he ends up doing the thing. So he may not do it because since yeah, so it seems like he doesn't. So he doesn't pump. So then for the timing for that to occur, if he says okay, no pumps, and then that's it, we go straight to damage. So I lost the Lion, he lost the King and the Factory. So I took 2 because the Goblin did 2 damage before the King died. So then I attack again. So it seems like he's at 10 now. Right, with that attack with the Sarah. Right, so Place a land. Did he end up using the Bloodlust? Did I miss that? Because I don't see any cards in here. I know he was looking at his lap. Maybe he put it there by mistake. I'm not sure. With burn, you might still be tempted to maybe Bloodlust like a creature that went through just to get 4 damage in. Because if you get sufficient burn, even if I'm dominating the board, you can still get a win by direct damage, right? So that's definitely something that could be he could be considered. I have 2 cards in hand. I do have that Chaos Orb, so if he does something like that, so it seems like he's gonna animate the factory attack. He could, if he still has that Bloodlust, he could, whatever I end up not blocking, he could Bloodlust that and then get 4 extra damage. And then if he gets the right cards, it's possible. Okay, so yeah, there's the Bloodlust. So yeah, he could maybe. Oh, he's tapping 2. What's happening? Okay, so yeah, he's animating. So he's animating. I think he's playing the Bloodlust ahead of time. So he didn't need to do that. But then again, you know, like, I know it's not a surprise, so either one works. Okay, so then he's tempting me. Either I block the better creature, which is the factory, and then I let 5 damage through, or I block the goblin so that I don't take that 5 damage, but then I sacrifice my Sarah, and then the factory is still alive. Of course, I still have that Chaos Orb, right? So I could react to it, but it also depends what I have in hand. I could always. Ooh, there we go. So yeah, I did have that disenchant. So I could always just, yeah, I think since I was at 18, so I'm like, okay, I'll just take the damage. I'd rather keep that Sarah alive. And since I know he's at 0 cards now, so I'm gambling that he doesn't get lucky and get like 4 bolts in a row. Alright, so yeah, I was just telling my opponent that's instant. I think he thought it was an enchantment, maybe. Like I said, those are 4 in black border. Alright, so ooh, gets another factory. Alright, so that's good. When you're playing this kind of a deck, you want to go wide, right? So whatever you can get that will let you split the attack is good. All right, so coming in for 4. I think he took out too many. Okay, there we go. Yeah. So he's at 2, I believe. Yeah. So yeah, the fact that the Sarah's a flyer, if let's say I had an Urnum instead, he could be blocking it, so he wouldn't be this low. So that's what's making me win right now. And then if I had an Urnum, then that Bloodlust would definitely come into play, because he could Bloodlust my Urnum in response, and then he could just chump block with a 1/1 goblin and then kill my Urnum. So he's coming in for an attack. I'm at 12. I guess, he may be trying to get me one, and then maybe if he has a goblin grenade, he could kill the Sarah. So that's why I would attack for 1, since I know the goblin's gonna die anyway. So maybe that's what he has. We'll see. Ooh, he's letting me go through. So yeah, I'm attacking for 2. Let's see what he has.
It went in during my turn, which means it's your turn. Can I animate this?
I think he's blocking, but yeah, I think I'm telling him that the Sarah flies. So that is not. Okay. So that was his plan, right? So he just forgot about the flying Sarah thing, because he wasn't going to block no matter what, right? So he just thought it was a ground creature for a while. But yeah, so his plan was to block with the. Let's say if it was an Urnum, that would have been a perfect plan. You block with the factory, let it deal its damage, and then you bolt to finish it off. But like I said, if it wasn't for, I had the perfect creature to win this game. If it was an Urnum, it would have been dead already. Like actually, probably a few turns ago, right? So then it would have been a definitely different game. But this luck was on my side. We're going now into game 2. No moles from either one. My opponent's going first. Mountain, Goblin, pass. So I go, draw, Factory, Soul Ring, pass. Right. So if I do a turn 1 Factory, it's probably because I may want to, depending on what the opponent does, I may get in an attack on turn 2 if I don't cast anything else. But against red, that's probably not possible. So opponent attacks, casts another Goblin. He does have a Factory as well, but he cannot use it to block. Okay, so I have a Mox there, I have another, and I have some lands. So okay, so I could get a turn. Okay, so yeah, it seems like I don't have anything bigger, or else it would have been perfect time to cast a Ernie or a Juggernaut or a Deb. But the best I could is just the Pixie on turn 2. But I do have a lot of mana. I need to get white though. If I want to cast that Sarah again, I need 2 sources of white. But no, I'm doing an Armageddon deck or Bantamgeddon. So I do keep my lands in hand if possible, and don't play them unless I need it. Alright, opponent places strip mine, strip my Factory. So now I only have colors. But he cannot attack with his Factory because I have the Pixie, right? So if he can lightning bolt it, then he's got a clear shot. He can still attack now though, because I'm not likely to block, sacrifice my Pixie, or to destroy one of those Goblins. But he chooses not to. Remember, he has Goblin Grenade, so maybe he just doesn't want to sacrifice it because he could instead get 5 damage out of one of those Goblins. Alright, so I play a Savannah, so I have 1 source of white. 4 mana seems like... Okay, Juggernaut. I thought it was maybe Urnum. So here, since he plays red, this is an issue, right? Because he has lightning bolts. I haven't seen chain lightnings yet, but he potentially has chain lightnings. So that's very easy to destroy the Juggernaut with. I'm trying not to use Suchis because I have lost games because of the mana burn that it does. So that's why I have no Suchis here, even though I believe I have 4 Factories in the deck. I just, I'm just afraid of losing more games because in the cost benefits to to reward to the negative that you get out of it, it's just not worth it. Okay, so here he attacks, he animates, attacks, pumps. I just end up not blocking, right? Because I'm afraid maybe there's some kind of reaction, and then I just end up. Oh no, actually maybe not. I don't know. But yeah, I just took the 4 damage. I'm at 14, then I come in for 7. So I think that's the first damage he's taking, right? But it's quite a big chunk. If I'm attacking with both, then that just shows me I got something else that's gonna be... Ooh, I thought that's why. Ooh, that's a devastating Armageddon. So he had 2 Factories, right? So that definitely could have been tricky. And then I play my own Factory after the fact. So I just left him with 2 Goblins. No lands. Let's see if he has anything. Any lands in hand. Maybe he drew one or he had one. Nice. Mountain from my opponent. He has 2 Goblins still. Okay, another Goblin. Goblin Chirurgeon, something like that. You can sack a Goblin to regenerate another Goblin, I think. So I'm tapped out. I can animate the Factory, or at least not animate and block. So it came in for 2 attack and I take. So he does have the Goblin Chirurgeon, so I could. Okay, so here, am I gonna attack? Yeah. I tend to do this a lot. I keep neglecting the factory, so I need to. Okay, so I think I noticed it, but I still chose to just attack with those two. Probably I have something else in hand, maybe a dib, which is why I don't want to use an extra mana. Alright, so here he just misunderstood the Goblin Chirurgeon. He thought he can just kind of like regenerate. He can sacrifice himself and then regenerate himself, right? But a sacrifice is something that you cannot regenerate from. So I'm just telling him, yeah, he should just block, and then it'll die, and then yeah. So he blocks the Juggernaut. He only takes 2 from the. Okay, I'm casting 4. What's that? Oh, second Juggernaut. So that's why I didn't attack with the factory. So and then I played a basic island. That's an altar from a friend. It's just a basic island. So here I want to get some. I just got blue as color. I don't have green or white, but I only have 1 card in hand, so I don't think I'm missing out on much. So I cast that second Juggernaut. My opponent plays a land, but that's all he does. So I'm coming in for a big attack. He's at 11, but I'm doing quite a bit of damage. Okay, so he's blocking. So if he does have a Bloodlust, that's a perfect time to play it. Okay, he just chump blocks them because he doesn't want to take 10. I don't blame him. He could have maybe blocked 1 and taken 5. But I don't know if that's, would have helped much either, right? It was because of that Armageddon, that really made my attacks way more effective. But he's recovering nicely. But with my superior board state, it's just, and it's right, don't have big creatures. And they deal small bits of direct damage. So here I'm coming in for 5, 10, 12, 14. So he needs to bolt one of the small creatures, or maybe 2 of them, or something. If not, he's dead. And even if he does bolt them, he's at 1. Oh no, actually my mistake. He could bolt the Juggernauts instead, right? So yeah, that's better. Way better if anything. Yeah, I got it then, yeah. So yeah, he was just telling me because of he had that fireball or something for a while, and he was building his mana up to X point for a bigger deal, right? For a bigger amount. But with the Armageddon, it made it so that way he could X for 2, kill one of the creatures, but then that still would have been 12 damage, right? And then since they are sorceries, they're not instant speed, you got to commit ahead of time, right? So there's no surprise element. So I ended up winning that one 0-2. With this win, I am now 1-2, right? So not a stellar record by any means. There's one more round though, so hopefully with a little luck I can get myself to a more respectable 2-2. But any hopes of top 8ing or whatever are out the window, right? By now it's just a matter of me doing the best that I can, but honestly the main thing is getting reps in, testing things out, seeing what are some weak points, what can I do. Game 1, like I said, against the green-black deck, Weenie deck, that was extremely tight game, and not much to say about that one. It could have gone either way, right? It just did not go in my favor, but I can't fault that one much. The second game, I got wrecked. Not much to do again. Not much to say against that one either, right? When you go against the deck, you're automatically behind the 8 ball, right? You have to get lucky to win, basically. And I did not get lucky. If anything, he got super lucky, like you saw video 2. And this one now, a win. So that marks 1 win. 1 more round. Hopefully I can get it. Get a more respectable 2-2, but above all, get those reps in. Especially for my sideboard. The main deck I think is solid. I'm not going to change. Or if I change, it'll be very marginal things. The sideboard is totally 100% up for debate in terms of what I end up changing, right? So those Sandstorms from game 1 is just did improve effective as I envisioned, right? So those are gone for Lobstercon. Tranquilities, I'm still seeing if I want to use those or not. The Sword seems like that's fine. Karma seems like that's fine. Energy Flux seems like that's fine. It's more about quantity. May I drop one of them? Same thing with the Karma. May I drop one? We'll see. But those are good. Sandstorms are out. Tranquilities, like I still gotta see. I haven't had much experience with them. But that's what these games are about. We'll see what happens in the final game, round number 4. Thank you guys for watching.